welcome to the marketplace for the level 8 edition of Purple is the Chosen One, otherwise known as the Close Wounds edition. There were three of you in the comments mentioned this. This is the first one I've recorded since you folks have mentioned it, so I have taken on board the advice, reluctantly at first, I will admit, because I was going through the Feywild quite nicely with Cure Serious just topping me up in between fights. But having tested this thing out, the big thing I'd missed is that you get an extra dice for investing each extra point in this, don't you? I'd just seen like 1d3, and I'd thought back to the derisory amount of damage we were doing with the Nimbus of Light spell-like ability, even with the Meta Magic on, the Maximize, at the start at level 1. And I was thinking to myself, it doesn't really matter, how short a cooldown it is. If it's not healing anything, it's going to be hopeless, isn't it? Well, as it turns out, it doesn't heal quite as much as a Cure Serious, but it's going on that way with the two metas on. So, and it's on like a 1 second cooldown. So if you're struggling, you can just spam away like, look at this. So yeah, impressive to say the least, and 2 spell points each cast. So as one of you said, I can see that lasting us right the way until we get the heal spell, I guess. So many thanks for kind of insisting on that. I'd better start there, hadn't I, because that's implied a bit of a reorganisation here. I've kept the points in our Tiefling tree because this Ash AoE is very nice to have and very cheap. We've had to lose some points in here, so we've lost a bit of critical chance. Wagon, you mentioned we could lose the Scourge, but you have to take the Scourge or take something to get up to the next tier. So I didn't see anything else that we could get rid of. So I've got rid of a couple of crit chance there, and the 2 cores which aren't. In fact, a lot of these cores, I mean, I don't know how good this Archon is, if good at all. These two certainly not striking me as amazing, put it that way. I had a look at this Good Hope thing, which looked alright, 2 morale bonus to saves, until I realised that it must be the same as the Heroism series of spells, because it didn't give me anything when I casted it, so it must be the same as the thing I've got with this little diamond, this Sapphire of Heroism on there. So I've not bothered with that. We've got a couple of PRR there. A bit more healing crit chance, which won't go amiss. And then the Close Wounds itself. Now it comes with a 10 healing amp there for each core. In fact, it's even better than that, isn't it? For each core ability, 1 positive crit chance, 5 positive spell power, and 10 healing amp. So there's a compelling argument for saying at least take that second one, even if we don't plan to use the beacon thing that comes with it. Take the core just for the heal amp and the rest of the goodies, I think. I managed to keep the just reward for the temp spell points on crit, and we've been doing really well. As I say, I didn't change the Close Wounds in until we'd finished the Feywild, and we did well in there. I was, apart from the odd boss fight, like the one in Immortality Lessons that goes on for quite some time with things respawning, I was struggling to heal myself back up in there with just the Cure Serious. So this thing would have, I guess it's one of these things that, you could go 8 or 10 quests and not really need it, and then the one where you really need it and die is the one where you wish you had it. And as you were saying, Wagon, we haven't lost too much out of here. In fact, it's not really noticeable in the quests anyway. We're still doing pretty well. All the more so for the spell we got at level 8, the Holy Smite. Now I've never used this before because I've never played a proper cleric or favoured soul, but I've heard a lot about it, heard a lot of outcry when it was nerfed halfway through the hardcore thing one time, and our Annie Bear was playing as a cleric with the Holy Smite at that time and was panicking that it still, it might just completely ruin her hardcore thing. In actual fact, I don't think she hardly noticed the difference, and she was still one-shotting things with this. So I've given it a try. It's very decent. It's not one-shotting stuff, but it's doing very well. That coupled with the Ash AoE gives us some nice AoE power, and the Searing Light and Deific Vengeance are picking things off very nicely. In fact, the Searing Light one-shot the Tobias ghost, or whatever it is that comes up at the end of the two-toed Tobias quest, because I did the level 5s in the 3-barrel cove as well. So that's where we're at. We've done the Feywild, taken the Saga, and done the level 5s in the 3-barrel cove, so we're sort of turning our attention towards level 6s now. And yeah, we've done the enhancements, haven't we? I'm not quite sure where to go next. Maybe I've answered that question. Maybe we want that one next for the healing amp. I mean, this I've never had anything like this, so I suppose it bears out what you folks have been telling me. I've never seen somebody playing with this. I've never seen something on such a short cooldown, and you can literally, I guess even in low Reaper, it's not going to matter, is it? I was trying it on Reaper 1, and you just spam the hell out of it anyway for little or no cost, and it still gets you back up, reasonably well with the health. And if you happen to be not doing Reaper, like on Elite or less, or outside of combat, well, 1 or 2 clicks and you're up to top anyway. So yeah, happy days. Actually, there was an amusing incident. I mentioned one-shotting the Tobias guy. That was the moment the game chose to grant me another Reaper point. So where should we put said point? Oh, there isn't really anywhere compelling, is there, at the moment? I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to hold on to it till the next level, because at 9 we're going to be able to whack it in there, aren't we, for 1 on all saves and 20 hit points. That's what we're going to do. And that is our 30th point, mini milestone. For anybody who spent any length of the time at the cap, I guess this total is derisory, but Purple hasn't really done that, so I think partly because his cap build, the tanky Warlock, needs other people to play with it. He was very decent. It was hard to kill, but on anything above sort of Reaper 1 or 2, the quest took forever with him on his own, because he just doesn't have the damage output in that build to succeed in any sort of reasonable time frame on his own. So that's the Reaper points. Yeah, earlier we did the Kundarak, as I said we were going to do, for the banking favour. There were quite a few undead in there I'd forgotten about. In fact, this build brings it home to me that the early levels are fairly undead heavy, aren't they? And the undead are just getting mashed, like one shot by these Searing Light and Deific Vengeance, which is great fun if you happen to be playing a favoured soul or cleric, I must say. Nothing more satisfying than one-shotting a load of opponents. Soundburst, as I mentioned to one of you in the comments, been a bit underwhelming so far. I mean, the DC in Reaper is 34, is it? I think. and still was struggling sometimes to hold things and to get like to get it to work reliably. So I don't know there. I was thinking that wasn't too bad, but perhaps it's maybe it's some of the targets. I remember one of the ones, it was in the Feywild, those trolls under the bridge. Now they must have a decent fort save, so perhaps that's logical. More or less everything just walks straight through it, so I suppose I need to pay more attention to the types of things I'm trying to stop with it. I mentioned that. I did notice that little cloak we had, that level 5 Feywild cloak with the wind in the trees thing. It was making one or two people fall down when they were attacking us, which was quite amusing. And in the needle in the Fey stack in the Feywild, the section where you end up having to chase the 4 targets, which can run off very quickly. My crowd control with the sound burst wasn't good enough to hold them in place, but my goodness me, the range, especially on this searing light thing, they were still able to be hit. If I could see them more or less, I could hit them. So I managed to not let them get away. Had I been swinging a weapon at that time, God knows what I would have done, because I would have never have caught the buggers up. So that was a point I was really glad I had the range of these things. What else have we got? Yes, I checked this toggle thing that you mentioned, and I think it was already ticked. The thing about force healing on self when targeting undead, it was ticked already. I unticked it and reticked it just to make sure. So I was wondering if you'd actually seen in a quest an instance where it had targeted the undead instead of me. Because normally that's the thing when you mention something like that. You've seen it in the quest being far more observant than I am, but it is ticked and was when I looked at it. Otherwise, yeah, we just took charisma on level up. We have 36 now. It's not terrible. Con 30, so not terrible at all. The saves are looking very good for low heroics. Fortification, nothing to be ashamed of there. Our usual rubbish armor class, but these aren't terrible considering he's only in light armor and it's in low heroics. I'm quite pleased with that, and the resistances are reasonable. He must have some resistances on the gear, just the cold one I need to cast at the start of the quests. So that's in a good place. Gear wise, we, as I think you'll know if you've followed any of the previous ones, we do a bit of a reorganisation at level 8 around Slave Lord's gear. And on any caster, my favourite item in the game, this Sacrarium Suncatcher from the, what's it called again, the Isle of Dread. I can't remember which quest that comes from, but it's a truly awesome item, this. It's a shame it's not insightful charisma, that, but you can't have everything. Profane spell focus too is just awesome at this level. Excuse me. So overall we've gained a couple of DCs between the Slave Lord set bonus and this thing. So those two are the same. That's just a bit of an upgrade, a bit more dodge and a bit more spell saves. We've got a 5-piece Slave Lord's caster set, sorcery set, which gives us another 2 bonus on spell DCs, a bit more spell power, and another one on charisma, so that's not bad. This set is a relic of my main character's past lives as a warlock, so there was acid spell power, which is redundant there, but the healing amp on the gloves I thought was sufficient. Well, okay, I didn't have any better gloves to make him wear, so I could actually have forgone the healing amp and kept the level 5 gloves with wizardry on, but I've decided to go for the heal amp instead. The rest of the stuff doesn't really help us. The boots are the same, the weapons are the same, this lovely orb that we've been wearing. So yes, this 5-piece slavers set, we've got some nice stuff on here. Sheltering for the PRR and MRR, resistance for saves. Jump is nice because we don't natively cast a spell, so now we're up to 27 on jump. I've invested a few points in there, plus the 10 from the item. So if we drink our potion, that's going to get us to 37. Enough for the kind of jumpy quests that require a nice big jump, at least the way I do it, like the spies in the house that we've got coming up soon. So yeah, that's a sort of a utility item that could benefit any character. I think I did that more by luck than judgment, but nice defensive item that anyone or any build could use, I think. Spinneret, I'm sure you all know that one. I've probably worn it in all the caster past lives. Another spell focus mastery, extra spell power, and because we don't now have, we've lost the ring of fire and radiance, so we don't have anything helping fire crit chance anymore. So that's giving spell law 4, so it's helping our positive and fire crit chance there. That's spell law, that's a 4 crit chance to all spells. So because we don't have anything specific to positive or fire, that's helping that, which is nice. Radiance law for the light is nice, because our warlock had that as well. And the false life side of things is catered for there, so another nice defensive item. Really nice item this for the healing amp, a couple of slots. Sapphire of Heavy Fort, which is very nice, from level 8, 100 fort. Some more MRR, so nothing not to like there. This one, Combustion, believe it or not, I put that on there for the Burning Hands spell which the warlock gets access to. I think it's an SLA in one of the trees. God knows why I did that, because I hardly ever used it, but it's going to come in handy for us now, because Combustion is very much a part of our agenda with this Scorch thing at the moment, so I'm glad it's there. Spell sight, yeah, extra con, nothing not to like there. Here again, very important for our build, Radiance, spell focus mastery for the spell DCs, an extra charisma. So all in all, although this wasn't specific to this build, there's a lot of stuff on there that's helping it, so I'm quite happy at that. While I was in the 3-Barrel Cove, in one of the special encounters that's easily farmed, this sort of skeleton thing that pops up out of the water, we found this, so I thought I might keep that, as I think it's quite a good early rune arm for our artificer life in the future. I thought I might keep it. I can't remember what order, I just remember there's I've decided on an order now. We're going to go with monk, we're going to go with monk next, but we're going to go with, you know, caster melee, like that, to keep things nice and fresh, and each time a different class. So that's my decision, and perhaps as well it'll help to sort of collect together maybe a few things for the life to come. Now for the monk next time around, I have an elemental bloom if we decide to go with the stick one. I don't know if the stick one has more sort of strike through AoE type stuff, crowd control, than the fist monk. I'm going to need to lean very heavily on you folks for that, because I've never done a proper monk of any description. It won't surprise you to know I cheesed it with the shuriken. Not that that's not a legitimate version, but it's not really a proper one, is it? In my opinion. So we're going to be going with the proper version, either a hand wrap or a stick one. I don't have anything in the way of hand wraps, I'm certain of that. Right, anyway, back to the business at hand. So we're reasonably well geared. We have half decent spell power. We're in the 200 area now for fire and light, so not too shabby. The crit chance is up towards 30 for both, so again not terrible. Just a word before we go and get slaughtered in this quest I've chosen for today. On this update 60, so I was actually, I'd be telling a lie if I said I was reading the notes. I had them read to me by a member of the Bear Party because I can't stand going through big things of text. And a couple of the things that stood out, well, this XP change that we all know about, I don't think it's going to make that many odds. I did the second part of the Fey and some of Three Barrel Cove since the change today, and I didn't notice that huge of a difference. It's probably a slight nerf to most of us because I wasn't getting the what's the top bonus for killing creatures, is it Conquest? I don't think I ever got that. I always got the lowest one and sometimes the medium one, because I'm not one of these who goes out of his way to kill every single thing in the quest. But leading into the second one about the dungeon alert, neither am I typically somebody who deliberately circumvents everything, invisible and all the rest of it, just to get to the end and kill the last thing. I typically kill the things that are on my route, so I haven't run into this pretty nasty looking purple alert yet, and I hope it's a while before I do. I did notice with my caster druid in mind that they've given the glacial wrath an extra 2 DC by making the embolden apply to it properly, so I'm happy to see that. I think that's about it. So I was looking round for a level 6 quest for us to try, and I thought, I don't think I've ever done this in the marketplace in heroic. Now I'm guessing it's going to be quite a challenge, so if as you know, I don't rehearse things in advance, so if it's a disaster we'll release out and choose something else to do. But the one I was wanting to go for was this one, this Devil Assault. It's going to test our capabilities, both AoE and single target, and the healing side of it as well. So maybe it's a good one to try with all that in mind. Against my better judgment. Oh, hang on a minute. That's on... Oh, we can't, can we? That's on 18 now. It said 6. Oh, is it 6 on normal, 12 on hard, and 18 on elite? Is that how that works? It said 6 on my notes. Okay. I'll have to do a quick about turn then, and see what else we can choose at this level that might be half decent. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go into the 12 and we'll have a go at not kind of a big deal, we did that last time, didn't we? What's it called? The other man's treasure, because that's where the orb comes from that we're using at the moment. Let's go and have a go at that. Now, because Purple's gone round a few times and got some extra points, I've done something about his derisory UMD. I treated him to a tome for that, so we're up to 65% now on the scrolls of teleport, which isn't too shabby. I definitely don't recommend you follow suit with that kind of thing. Always go for, I would say, content first above anything else. If you have content that you're missing and you have spare DDO points, go for the content. Now, is it this one? Yes, okay. Now, what level are we going to try on? Shall we be ambitious and go for something really crazy? Shall we do, shall we try Reaper 4? Go on. The worst that can happen is we die horribly. I guess the healing is going to be more severely nerfed on this. Which one did we say we needed? The cold one, didn't we? Is that a Reaper down there straight away? Yeah, you watch, I won't be able to hold the bugger. Oh no, we did stop him. A nice critical heal there. Are they going to take some beating, aren't they, with the... I tell you what, where possible, I should still wait until we're out of combat, shouldn't I? I'm going to have to try very hard to hold things before we engage them now, because they're really going to hurt us, aren't they? Otherwise, what happened to my spell game? Oh, a bit of lag. Yeah, the higher up you go on the Reaper levels, the more your own damage is nerfed, so that's not doing us any favours. Get that damn Reaper! Oh, nice! I wonder if that was one of the ones that spawns with no health, because that seems suspiciously easy. Oh, what a mess, I pressed the wrong key there. Can we actually stop that guy? No, I don't think... Oh, unless we just don't have the... we're taking a hammering from him as well, aren't we? I don't think I know. I've overstretched myself here, because they were the easy ones. We've got some tougher ones coming. Let's see if we can get healed back up. I need to remember we've got this as well, a one click heal to full if we get into real trouble. Right. Can we use our prodigious range to our advantage here? Don't let him get you. Okay, let's wait until the combat nerf wears off and then heal again. If nothing else, it will make for some entertaining viewing, watching us try and survive our way through this. This is way too high for what we should be doing, I think. That was nice. Now these two are fiendishly difficult, I remember that. He's not held. don't think I am going to hold him, am I? Okay. Now, is this a good place to use the Wood of Unrest? I wonder. It probably is.
Oddly enough, the Warforged has a crystal embedded in its chest.
Might have to use the heal to full as well. Gotcha. Took its toll on our spell point pool though. Go on, let's have 100 for the YouTube. Best laid plans. How many points do we actually get if we somehow manage this? 500. No, it's totally not worth doing. Have we got some more down there? Yeah. Okay. Everything's taking like 3 hours and God knows how many spells to die. We're going to be on the Echoes of Power soon if this carries on. Although thankfully I don't think there's any big fights left. Immune, I thought so. Yeah, we're not so clever, are we, when we're not fighting against undeads. Right, the essential here is to get the hireling to do this one, because otherwise you're forever wandering around these invisible walls, so we'll just leave her to get on with that while we do the swim section. Now if you get into trouble, you watch, I'll die horribly in here. If you get into trouble in here, you can always summon your hireling to you to heal. You can't heal under the water, but the hireling can heal you. And these spikes, my god, it really would pay to have an evasion character in here. Let's stop you there so you don't get cut to pieces. These things. I like to go to the top here to try and only cop for one of the things if it does hit me. Oof. The only reason I didn't call the hireling there was that I was hoping that was the last one. So mobile luck and judgment, we've made it. And look how quick that thing, I mean that's just unreal how quickly that works.
Pulling the lever dims the red crystal on the wall. The red barrier has been opened.
Okay.
The final crystal goes dark, and the last barrier fades away.
Now I think we have a
Bottom of this mystery.
shrine here. Perfect timing. And it's a good illustration as well when you up the Reaper level without having the character power for it, as we don't. It takes you that long to kill things, plus you're spending mana sometimes on healing as well, that your mana pool gets drained quite often, because instead of doing one spell to kill things, it's like 3 or 4 sometimes. Plus we'll have taken maybe twice as long to do the quest as we would have done on Reaper 1. That said, for the purposes of the recording, if it ends up being a close run thing and we end up scraping through or getting most of the way through, I'll be more than happy. Crikey, nothing's working against them, is it? Proper spell point sponges. Now, is there another shrine? I'm not sure there is. I got to know this one pretty well because, as most of you know, I really am not a fan of farming in the game in general, but this orb that we are using at present, I thought that would be pretty indispensable for a build making use of light spell power like my warlock was, so I went for it big style, and of course everything I found was not the right item. I found everything bar for the one I was looking for, so I had to do it a good number of times. Well, I got used to the quest and its little ins and outs, and I really quite like it now. I don't mind going back in and giving it another go. Oh, spam the heal. Yeah, that's definitely a situation where the close wounds has helped big time, and we're still struggling. I can't stop him. Oh, we did just stop him. Okay, got lucky in the end. Can we stop that guy as well? No, we can't. Okay. Yeah, I think we can safely say that if I'd have been relying on Cure Serious there without Quicken and without anything, we would have been either out of mana if I'd have put metas on it, or we'd have been dead. So, one there for the Close Wounds crew. Is that what it's called? Close Wounds? Yeah. We were taking quite a hammering there, and it still kept us up, so that's despite the Reaper 4 nerf. The higher the Reaper, the worse the healing nerf is, isn't it? So, yeah. failed crowd control. That's another thing, the higher up the Reaper you go, the tougher the opponents are to control. He does badly.
Three-dimension doors stand before a trio of glyphs on the wall. The glyphs represent locks that must be opened to reveal the way forward.
I came to know the solutions to this puzzle through repeating it, and also the 4 locations of the lever in the yellow room. So generally speaking, if I'm running this with one of the bear party, I'll do the purple and the yellow door, and they'll go for the puzzle room in the blue door. So this is one possible place. Nope. There are 2 quite close together here, down at the bottom. So it can be down in this little cubby hole here. Nope. Or down here. No. So you're going to have seen all 4 possible locations if you didn't know them already. The last one is down here.
The lever is pulled. The glowing sigil fades. The orange lock has been opened.
Now my thoughts are turning to those red, is it gargoyle things at the end. I'm really not looking forward to that, not one bit. They're going to put out a lot of damage. In the past I've cheated a bit and placed a hireling sort of strategically so it can throw heals on me as I run around. I'm not going to do that. So, what can we do? We've got 1 charge of this thing. We can use a Reaper charge as well. I think that's about it.
The renegade transmuter casts a spell, causing the nearby platinum guardians to attack.
Oh crud. They don't half hit hard. Come on, hit them back. That's nice. Stay alive now, stay alive. Yes, we got one. We're going to start suffering more now because of the dodge things worn off. Oh my god. I'm not sure this is possible. Unless I learn to dodge better than I already am. No, it's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. The healing nerf is too much. Okay. Well, I could use the gibbers, but I don't see much of a point. I think the same thing will probably happen again. We demonstrated the strengths of the build there. The healing is decent, even in with a severe nerf there. I just couldn't damage them enough. We needed to outstrip the damage they were doing to us, and we just couldn't do it. So unfortunately, we don't get to see a quest completion here. But if I'd have gone on, say, something like Reaper 2, like one of you was telling me to do, if if you can do Reaper 1, you can probably do Reaper 2. I think that might have been alright. So, as much as I am loath to end on a defeat, I think we're going to have to on this occasion. So, thank you very much as always for looking. I will speak to you in the next one. Take care.